Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is September 19th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You got Alaska, BC, Washington, Oregon. Here goes our next system across southeast Alaska, and it's going to drive down across Pacific Northwest. We'll look at those impacts coming here in a moment. We'll get a little bit of a break here as that slice of the southeast, but not much, as we got some more energy here across western Alaska. The Bering Sea, Aleutian Islands will eventually make its way towards Pacific Northwest, and we are going to ramp up the storm track into the Pacific Northwest. We've got wind potential, atmospheric river potential, and we'll dive into those details as we go through the video here today, looking at the NAM 3KM. And this is this morning's run. You can see the westerly surge come down the Strait of Georgia and Juan de Fuca, set up across the central Puget Sound. Some enhanced rainfall with that convergent zone signature there. Upper level low tracks down across the area as we go through Wednesday and Thursday. What would that look like here on the Doppler radar? So you can see that frontal system drive across the region there. And then that convergent zone signature, upper level low, might have some increased precipitation rates with it as well as it drops down across the North Cascades towards the Blue Mountains here. And as you go through the day Thursday, check it out. This low is just spinning out there, bringing wraparound moisture all the way towards the end of the run there, hour 60 Thursday afternoon. Looking at the HER 3KM, 12Z goes out 48 hours, and you can see the frontal system, convergent zone signature, and it also highlights some of this increased precipitation rates with that upper level low across the North Cascades as it drops down to the south. Pretty good model agreement with the NAM as it spins over kind of the Blue Mountains in Idaho there onto Thursday morning. The wraparound moisture you can see. SeaTac yesterday's 67, 71's the average high, 1100ths of an inch officially, and hopefully we can really ramp up these precipitation amounts as we get towards the end of the month and get up over normal here for SeaTac. Been pretty dry across the region. And if you want to save 10% off this nice affordable home weather station, click on that link down below. And you can see it stores all the data for you in the cloud. It's got an ultrasonic anemometer. It's got a haptic rain gauge, all solar powered, all wireless. And this is Hawaii. Check out all these stations here on the Hawaiian Islands. Speaking of which, during that firestorm out there in West Maui, I saw one of the stations record 67, talked to Cliff Mass a little bit about that, and he said gusts were probably over 80 miles per hour locally across some of the areas, so pretty intense situation there. But yeah, it's always interesting to look to see where all these stations are located on the Tempest weather flow map. Anyway, breezy north winds Wednesday, Spokane, Washington, Okanagan Valley, some possible impact could be heightened fire danger and maybe some blowing dust. Always good graphics from the National Weather Service Spokane. And we've got sneaker waves again as we go through the day today. Should be on the wane, but we're going to have this kind of ongoing theme here as we go through the end of September, as some of these storms are going to bring some big waves towards the west coast. Taking a look at that here, you can kind of see the waves winding down as you go through Tuesday morning on through the day, and then we get a bit of a break here, but then you see we ramp up the swell. Look at this system out here off the coastline, bringing some big waves onto the Washington, Oregon, California coast up towards Vancouver Island by the time we get towards the early portion of next week. And now looking at the upper levels of the atmosphere, here's last night's European run, 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. There goes our upper level low, kind of hanging out here across Oregon and Nevada. Bit of a break, and then we ramp up that storm track, and we start to bring these systems in here. Look at this trough out over the coastline here at hour 144. And this will look quite nice on the satellite imagery, and I'll show you what I mean here in a moment. I'll show you the surface pressure map for that. This is the GFS hot off the press 12Z. There goes the initial system. Little bit of a ridge builds in here in the wake of that. Might get a nice day out of it, but then we really turn on the storm train here. And as you can see, this big trough just pointing some atmospheric river potential back into the Pacific Northwest. We're going to have wind potential with it as well. And the GFS, which was showing a ridge off in the future, now kind of keeps the troughs rolling through, and the storm train just going on in through early October. Look at that, just impressive signal there. But we're looking a little bit too far out right now on that. But you can see Seattle Tacoma on the European ensembles. Look at that, the control up towards a half an inch with this system there. Well, that would not be bad. And then you can see the big time stuff coming up here as we go a little bit on into the early portion of next week. Some of these ensembles showing over an inch of rain for SeaTac in a 24-hour period. And this is the GFS kind of showing something similar here as well. This is last night's run. Here we go with Bellingham, also something similar here. The initial system could drop a half an inch of rain there as well. It would be very beneficial. Astoria, not quite too much with this first system here, but once the storm train gets going here, you got atmospheric river potential, which could be impacting some of the Oregon coast here as well. A lot of these ensembles with up over an inch in a 24-hour period, including the control right at 1 inch there. Now, looking at up Vancouver Island as well, you're not going to be out of the woods up there also, but this is going to be variable. We're going to be watching this over the next few days. days, because you can see there is some ensemble disagreement here, but overall it's probably going to be a pretty wet period as we go through the early portion of the following week. Look at Whistler, could even get some of its first snowflakes of the year with this upper level low coming down the area, and then you've got snow potential off through the extended here as well. Look at Tillamook Airport. You can see some blustery conditions as we go on in through, what would this be, Monday night into Tuesday morning. Some of the ensemble showing 50 plus. The control came in at 42. This would be Cooley. Look at that, 53 on the control run. And you've got some ensemble agreement there with the windy period coming up for Monday night into Tuesday morning. This is Hoquiam on the Washington coast as well. Control ran at 45, and you can see some gust up over 40 miles per hour in some of the ensembles coming in here. SeaTac, one of these came in at 60. Check it out. But for the most part, you can see there is starting to get a little bit of consolidation here. The control run did come in at 43 miles per hour, which is a pretty windy period there for the interior sections as well. But now looking at what that would be, number 4. So I'm going to put this into motion. You can see that storm off the coastline there. And then the stronger one, look at this one march up the coastline. And notice that right there, that little bump in the low pressure on the north side of the Olympics, that's a lee low. And that can locally enhance winds across portions of the Puget Sound as well. And you can see that exist again on that secondary shot. But yeah, nice strong storm starting to show up in the models here as you go through the September 26, 27 time frame here across the area. This is looking at the European mean sea level pressure. And goes our trough kind of dropping down across the Intermountain West there, a little bit of a break, and then we start to ramp the storms up here as we go towards the end of the weekend. Look at this low pressure system. That would just look glorious on the satellite imagery, and this is the end of last night's European run, but look at that low right off the coast of Oregon there. This is the GFS kind of showing Alaska, BC, Washington. So there goes our upper level low. Bit of a break here, but then we quickly bring this energy across the Pacific Ocean here, and we start to bring the storms into the Pacific Northwest. This is the 12Z GFS, and look, it's just kind of never ending here as we go through the end of September. Repeated systems diving into the Pacific Northwest. That one would be interesting, but that's way out there in fantasy land, and that's going to change several times over with another deep trough, well 300 plus hours out there on the GFS. This is looking at the extended, so this goes all the way from late September all the way into October into early November, and you can clearly see how the temperatures start to fall off this time of year. Fall is definitely coming here, folks. So yeah, get out your parkas and your jackets and your long underwear. Looking at Seattle Tacoma, so this kind of gives you a 24-hour multiple run trend. This is basically just showing you what it showed last night afternoon run and then last night's run here, for example, and you can kind of see how things are flip-flopping a bit here. So we still don't have the best idea of just exactly when we're going to be expecting these heavier precipitation events to come through the area. So that's something we'll be watching closely here over the next few days. But you can see by Monday during the day, 7/10 of an inch of rain showing up there, and then another system rolling through as you go through the day Friday with another half an inch. So yeah, cross your fingers. We'll try to nail down these details, of course, as always, as we get closer. This is Hoquiam. You can see this 24-hour period up over an inch, a couple of them there as well towards the end of next week also. But you can see kind of the variability in model to model run. Now looking up towards Vancouver Island, you can kind of see it there as well. It was putting a little bit of a rainier period, then it kind of backed off, and now it's bouncing back again here. So yeah, we've got some model disagreement on just the exact timing of these systems, but pretty good confidence that they are on the way. Here's the European total snow in 10-to-1 ratio here across the higher terrain of British Columbia. Some of the North Cascades, Blue Mountains, you could be seeing the first snowflakes of the year, even across some of the higher terrain of Oregon, down through southern Oregon, Sierra Nevada, Idaho, Montana, Yellowstone out there as well. So it's always fun to see that first chilly system roll into the area. I mean, look at some portions of Montana up there showing up over, getting close to a foot across the higher terrain. This is the 8 to 14 day as we turn up the storm track here. You can imagine we're going to be with this above average signal here across Pacific Northwest. And as you know, if you've been watching the channel, we are in some drought here, and these systems would make quick work of that drought here, hopefully, if we go into the early portion of October with multiple rounds of some wet systems rolling through the area here. So anyway, yeah, as you can see, there is some extreme up there for Northwest Washington and portions of Montana, so maybe we can put a big dent in that drought. As you can see, California basically drought-free. What a sight that is. Someone screenshot that and hang it on their wall. But anyway, yeah, we'll watch this as we go. It's going to be fun to watch these systems as they trend in the model runs here. We'll start to get some model agreement as we get closer, as always, and we'll start to nail down these details. But anyway, the El Nino video here coming out in the next few days. What else? Leave some comments, click like and subscribe, and I will do my normal briefings tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.